Well, President Trump is wielding his influence at NATO in London, and today at least one world leader shot back.
The testy exchange came between Mr. Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron over ISIS fighters in Syria. But the president, though, did have a softer tone when it came to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Just slightly delinquent. No, some are major delinquent. Some are way below 1%, and that's unacceptable. And then if something happens, we're supposed to protect them, and it's not really fair, and it never has been fair.
The president is threatening to alter foreign trade deals to bring delinquent NATO members to task.
And here with us now is Michael O'Hanlon, Senior Fellow and Director of Research for Foreign Policy at the Brookings Institution. Michael, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to be with you. Thank you.
So today, Macron called NATO brain dead out of apparent frustration that Turkey only consulted with the U.S. on Syria and no other NATO member. President Trump, who is considered pulling out of NATO, responded by saying that nobody needs NATO more than France. Is the alliance here losing its significance?
No, but it's got a number of internal disagreements that are pretty serious, and it could create weaknesses or even vulnerabilities. What I worry about most is the kind of thing that at least we haven't seen this time. It's like 2 years ago when President Trump doubted and cast significant confusion about whether the United States would come to the defense of NATO allies in the event of war. And I worried about that because Vladimir Putin could have interpreted that as a green light to attack the Baltic states or Poland, for example. But when we have squabbles like this one, where Macron uses an insult, President Trump insults him back, President Trump talks about using tariffs to punish countries that don't do enough with burden sharing. I may or may not like all those tactics or the name calling, but I don't see a fundamental threat to the security of the alliance either. So for me, even though this meeting, like many involving President Trump, is a little bit out of the norm of diplomatic protocol, the way in which the stakes are being discussed is at least a little more reassuring. I don't see a likelihood that an adversary is going to misinterpret this as an opportunity to attack a member of NATO.
Michael, really an extraordinary moment witnessing the two leaders today as they traded jabs over ISIS fighters in Syria. Trump claiming victory over ISIS, Macron saying the work is still far from over. Can you weigh in here?
Well, President Macron is right on that. Now, we all have a lot to be grateful for and to be a little proud of, Democrats and Republicans in the United States, because the strategy against ISIS goes back to President Obama. France as well, because the French have been part of it, and they've been very good on counterterrorism for decades. They've been dealing with terrorism for decades, just as we have. So these are not really the two countries that should be disparaging each other. They actually should be sort of giving a shout out to each other, in my humble opinion. But, Macron and Trump have had a tough couple of weeks, and so this is just one more manifestation of it. Generally speaking, France, which has really borne the harshest attack of any Western country in the last few years with the November 2015 Bataclan tragedy, has nonetheless really developed a serious counterterrorism effort over the years, and I think is much better prepared than most European states, even though those tragedies occurred. It has a lot of people moving in and out of France from the broader Middle East region. It's a tough environment and tough situation for them, so I give them a nod of respect in regard to their counterterrorism policy.
Michael, in the 40 seconds we have left, Turkey says it will oppose NATO's defense plan for the Baltics and Poland unless the alliance recognizes the Kurdish YPG, America's allies in the fight against ISIS, as terrorists. Should Turkey still be a member of NATO?
Yes, it should, because we need a strong southeastern flank, and Turkey's absorbed a lot of problems from the Syrian war, including 4 million refugees. I don't like President Erdogan, but I do respect what Turkey's done. And on balance, by the way, Turkey's not going to impede us from defending Poland or the Baltic states. They're just going to impede us from announcing a formal new doctrine. We can still prepare the military requirements for that defense, even without Turkey's permission. So it's a rough patch in U.S.-Turkish relations. But again, we got to bear in mind what Turkey has accomplished, what pain they've borne in this fight, and try to work through this tough moment, not try to kick them out of NATO.
Michael O'Hanlon at the Brookings Institution, thank you so much.